Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and oh my gosh, it's one of those periods in comics. There are too many subjects, too many comics. Even 4 videos a day is not enough. So I got them all double parked, waiting for space. But this is the next one in the shoot because I said on Twitter, I go, remind me to do this one today. So people did remind me. So anyway, this is a CBR. CBR is an absolute trash website. They employ Kieran Shake. Well, I don't think they pay him anything at all because that guy is in abject poverty. But Sina Grace reflects on Iceman's journey of self acceptance. So, one of the things that all these people do, by the way, nice having a cursor in the picture, whatever that is, on Black Widow's face. One of the things the media do is they collude, and they collude constantly. You'll see this when all of a sudden a phrase like wrong side of history starts popping up like in every news article and every editorial like on the same day. They collude. It happens in regular journalism. It happens in comic books. Although it's more of a weird thing because journalists in the real world just become journalists or writers. But the path in comics is journalist, which is really just free publicity and like defense. Yeah, you basically butter up Marvel to hope to get hired by Marvel. There's a ton, Kelly Thompson, Gail Simone. There's a ton of people who started writing some column for some trash website, and then they kissed enough ass, and they had the right surface qualities, and they got hired. So one of the things they do is they collude to launch it. You get all these fake videos by guys like Dandelion Warrior. And you start thinking stuff is popular. I'm not kidding. I thought Captain Marvel was a huge hit for like 3 years until I looked at Comic-Con because you go to the store for like in 2014, 2015, every month or two, Marvel would give all the stores like a poster which was like a cover, the current cover for Captain Marvel. So I go, oh, this must be a big seller. Every time I go to all the shops, they all got Captain Marvel. They're trying to draw on people on the street. They want Captain Marvel. Nobody wants Captain Marvel. It's all fake. Iceman was the same thing. There was no push to do this. It was done just because Bendis made him gay. Bendis made him gay because I think he thought it was funny. It was just a goof. And then they did the stunt casting, as Christopher Priest says. They don't hire writers, they cast them. You got a gay character, you got to hire a gay writer. The gay character was created by a straight man. The gay character was made gay by a straight man. But only a gay man could write it. And Sina Grace did a terrible job. Absolute travesty. I've got to say, though, of all the Purse Puppy diversity hires, Mariko Tamaki, Gabby Rivera, Heather Ontos, Sina Grace. Sina Grace is the only one who actually had talent. He just wrote about a horrible, horrible person. He wrote Richter in the last issue of Iceman. Richter came off as just a regular guy, and Richter's gay now. They gave him a Freddie Mercury mustache, but whatever. A lot of the other people, although sometimes they would be total cartoons, they would actually come off quite well. They would come off as people. But anytime he wrote a gay character, Iceman, Dakin, Zack Attack, as Dakin's literally his twink sidekick. Awful, shallow, effeminate, infantile, immature, the whole lot of them. The weird thing is he did a pro-gay book that I get lots of different feedback. I get it all the time. I did a thing about Max. People say, hey, we don't really like when you misgender that person. I agree with the other stuff. People hit me up. People hit me back. This, that, the other thing. I have never, ever once got an email, got a DM, talked to a person in real life, or even seen a comment that says, as a gay man, I really like how Sina Grace portrays Iceman. It's been actually quite the opposite. They've gotten very, very angry and they feel insulted and degraded by this horribly stupid character. So My thing about collusion is when the book fails, they have to kind of rewrite history that it was this great moment. Oh, let's try to sell the trade paperback. Let's try to make this act like it was always supposed to be a short series. That's one of the common rewritings of the SJW era of Marvel, which is not done yet, is that, oh, it was all just a prank, bro. It was all a social experiment. It was only supposed to last for a couple years. I don't know. They were in it to win it, and they just got embarrassed by low sales. So I'm going to have to skip this. It's long, so I'll just skip to the question. So in Iceman 11, you brought the series to a close. That's a nice way to say you did such a bad job it got canceled early. What a way. These people are so dishonest. They're like, how do I say you're terrible and you got the book canceled? He's like, you brought the series to a close. And I thought the final page was a great way to end Bobby's journey in the book. From stereotypical gay man to slightly older stereotypical gay man. My take on the last shot is that he's taken a moment to enjoy a beautiful day and how comfortable he feels with himself. Was that what you were aiming for? How did it feel to reach that point in the story and give Bobby that moment? It was actually a really awkward moment. His dad, who he's had a contentious relationship, basically said, hey, we worked through some stuff. Why don't you come over and visit us right now? And he's like, thanks, Dad. I'm just going to randomly walk around Manhattan. The end. By the way, we got to zoom in on this, which was the first page of the last issue of, and just everyone who reviewed this book went off on it. So you got these two barely defined female characters high-fiving each other because for female characters, superheroes, heroics, comics is all about emotional validation, doing it to yourself and having others do it to you. And then of course, the gay guy has to have the Muslim woman because woke times woke equals woke square. So he literally said, this is the actual dialogue. Civilian casualties, 0. Property damage, wicked minimal. Boyfriend kissage, imminent. It's disgusting. I don't know why someone would hate themselves and other gay people so much to portray them like that. So then Sina Gray says, there are a handful of really small moments that hint to where I want Bobby to land long term. I tried to circle back to how much of a nervous mess he was in the first issue. He does an IRL shrug emoji when giving Mr. Poklemba advice about coming out, which is a callback to how he ended up doing his dating profile. Why are you talking like you're a character? What off-Broadway, out-of-work actor is playing the role of Sina Grace? Talk like a person. With that final scene where he's talking to his dad, the line about being alone was a sort of a way to say, Bobby doesn't have a boyfriend. He doesn't have his own team yet. But that's okay. He's got himself. Himself, that's key because this version of Bobby Drake, which a lot of fan theories about, he's effectively a completely new character with the same powers and name, was one of the most selfish people I've ever seen in comics. I'm including villains. This guy, Judah, why is Judah drawn he's 47 years old? He's been drawn a couple different ways, but Judah got stabbed in the chest by Dakin. And then when he said hey man, we've been dating for literally 10 days and I've gotten stabbed. I think I'm gonna bounce. Are we cool? And Iceman's like, whatever. We might be cool later, but I don't have time to deal with it. Judah's like, yeah, that's so cool because the doctors have to cut out 10 feet of my small intestines that were shredded. So you actually kind of need to leave. So what does he say? I hated bringing everything to a close. Wait a minute. You're using the same phrase, the same very odd, dishonest phrase that CBR uses, almost as if you guys colluded to use this phrase beforehand. But luckily, I was able to draft that issue a few times before editorial sent the final off to... Okay, nobody cares. Okay, nobody cares about this. Is boring. Let me go to that. Please, please, please. I have this ready. Okay. Stop with the ad blocker already. Ad blocker sucks. Pause on the site. Okay. So In issue 11, we got to see how significant the journey Bobby has gone on, and what it's meant to him in a series of flashbacks, each one drawn by you and exhibiting a different art style. What inspired these sequences, and what made you want to draw them? Oh god, this part's just boring. Oh god, this sucks. I should have prepared this one a little bit. So he does this like weird low-key shade on like one of the better artists, Robert Gill. Robert Gill was one of the most consistent and kind human beings I've collaborated with. He wanted to do his best. Ooh, that's that's actually kind of mean. So we talked about how to let him excel while still getting whatever story I needed, though. That's really catty. The man is a beast with fight scenes, so I tried to cue as many as possible and let him handle a grip of the choreography. Rachel was a silent weapon. She always met dynamites and turned in really dynamic work. We didn't get to chat much. Okay, whatever. Now I'm just doing my gay voice. Another fun element of issue 11 was Bobby's dynamic with Richter. Was it like writing Julio and bouncing him off Bobby? I don't understand why Richter's name isn't Richter. That's an actual name. I've said before in previous interviews that given I'd only have a year on the book, I wanted to put Bobby in a better place for future writers to have with him. I have a question. Excuse me, I have a question. Yes, right here in the back. Yes, the guy in the closet. For sound purposes. Why are you acting as if it was only going to be a year beforehand? And if we're pretending like you're only going to be on it for a year, why did you act like all of your storylines were truncated just because you had to wrap it up? I turned off the ad blocker. It's off. Stop the... Oh my god. Seriously, CBR? It's time to stop. 1-800, come on now. Oh my gosh. Gotta go back to the other page. This is insanity. Okay, so he pretends like he was only ever going to be on it for a year. He's like, I wanted to put Bobby in a better place for future writers to have fun with them. No. You destroyed Bobby. He was a fun character. People loved him for 40, 50 years, 60 years. You made him into a horrible... I've seen actually how other writers have written Bobby. Matt Rosenberg did in Phoenix Resurrection. He basically had everyone hate Bobby. And Bobby be this horrible, selfish idiot who wasn't just a butt of everyone's jokes. Everyone's like, oh, geez, he's here. So that's what you've done. The date with Richter was my way of saying, in real life, couples don't magically stay together without hiccups. In real life, not every date is a good idea or an instant connection. No, flag on plate. No, that's not what you did. You did the thing where any gay person gets in, you're just going to match them together. It didn't make any sense. Age-wise, she was actually really weird. Bobby's from the first generation of X-Men. Richter is from effectively like concurrent with like the fourth. So we're talking like 30s compared to like 21. Not that bad, but still, it's weird. The gray area of dating is something we don't see our queer heroes facing. There was nothing but dating is. Shallow, grinder-style hookup dating, no actual emotions. The one part you could have actually been a person was when Judah got freaking sliced in the chest. You just noped out on him. You're like, it's getting a little heavy in here. Okay. Much credit is due to my editor, Chris Robinson, for keeping Richter an active character in the fight scene portion of the issue. It's not lost on me that once Bobby trained Richter years ago, so it was cool to have Rick manage his shit, be there to tell Bobby and the reader just how high the stakes are with his... Oh, God. You've been boring describing your own story. It's time to stop. Oh, by the way, I think I forgot to mention this. That artist that we like already turned in the layouts for the first 5 pages of the Jawbreakers Lost Souls one-shot for the Kickstarter. Already done. And I got to tell you, it's amazing. When I write, I don't have like a visual flair. I always make fun of people for flat angles. In my mind when I'm writing it, it's 2 things. It's a flat angle like I'm an observer watching this stuff happen from like 20 feet away. Or it's a flat angle of I'm one of the characters and I'm doing this stuff. and I'm seeing everyone else from a flat angle. This guy busted out like the most cinematic, beautiful shots. Like I was just like, wow, I was just stunned. Stunned. Anyway, let's get back to this trash series. Looking back at the series as a whole, what were some of your favorite moments? Who were some of the other Marvel characters you wrote that you'd like to revisit given the opportunity? So he's wish you met with Jean or Emma. Something about therapy. I'm gonna have to say the word scrumptious in the Sina Grace voice. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. Okay. Oh, sorry for no clap warning. In terms of highlights, writing issues 4 and 5 and seeing all my thematic threads come together, that was a great moment. Were you asked to compliment yourselves 3 times in one sentence? My first Dakin scenes were... You can do this. My first Dakin scenes were... My first Dakin scenes were scrumptious. And then in parentheses, because he's not talking this, he's writing this, he goes, that white suit. Ice Kaiju in issue 7 felt like, there we go. There's your Omega level badass. I snuck so many music references into the book. Like in issue 5, when those girls are talking about boys, those are all Colleen Green references. Are you serious? Word? Are you serious, dog? Word? Colleen Green references? That's crazy. Dude. I almost dropped the clippers when I heard that stuff. I also loved passing and failing the Bechdel test. In parentheses, haha. Like, my lady characters are awesome and brave and count on each other, but dating and clothes are on their minds too. That's not I don't got time for that. The Judah You Up scene was super cute. I've read every single issue of this terrible book and done 20-minute videos on it. I don't know how the stuff you're talking about. The Judah You Up scene was super cute. I have no clue how fans felt. But I love that Bobby and Dakin's first kid was super bizarre and sexy in a redeeming act. No, it was disgusting. Dakin's a serial killer. But you just did gay plus gays. Dakin is also completely different than how he's ever been portrayed. Ever. I'm not an expert, but I probably read 4 graphic novels where he was the main character. He is not you. You wrote Bobby as you. We can see that from the way you say things are scrumptious and say, that white suit. You wrote Dakin as you. You wrote Bobby as you. I'm not going to go there. 2 of the most important supporting characters in Iceman lacked any powers whatsoever. Bobby's parents. As a reader, I hated them at first. Excuse me, I have a question. I'm over here. I have a question. Why did you hate 2 perfectly normal 70-year-old people who were just trying to interact with their son? That was literally what they did. But my reactions to them softened over the book. Come issue 11, I kind of even liked Bobby's dad. You missed the issue with the purifiers or whatever, where Bobby's dad faked a heart attack and then tried to fist fight people 40 years younger than him to protect his family, and you didn't start to like him till issue 11? What was it like writing William and Maggie Drake? Oh, God. Bobby's parents were so much fun because they really just don't understand their son and vice versa. Oh, excuse me, I have a question. Yes, I'm over here. It's actually perfectly understandable to not understand your son when suddenly at the age of 30, he has a completely different personality, and it's a terrible one. I loved writing a religious character because faith brings so much joy to people, but then the institutions of faith tend to ostracize people who are different. Mutant, gay folks. I have a question over here. Yes, you speak of faith, but you only ever castigated Christians. It's not the only faith out there, and it's not the one that has the biggest problems with gay folks. My poor friends from Long Island, they thought I was being a great friend asking them questions about growing up with Irish and Roman Catholic parents. But really, it was just research. Wait, so you asked your friends about their parents and then tried to make their parents into the. Okay. Like, I went so far to ask my friend Ronnie what his parents would make him for dinner growing up. What? Where did you grow up? In a lab? Um, I'm so grateful for the experience of working on this book. So many comic stores went in with blind faith on this book and did a great job getting into readers' hands. Excuse me, I have a question. Why are you lying? This book is a terrible sales. It plummeted every month. I'm super appreciative to the journalists who came up with great ways to promote the series. By lying. By journalists, by putting on their reviewer hat, doing a fake review that multiple of these reviews, I went through them, and it was obvious they did not read the book. It was just, Bobby's great, that's great, isn't it great, if Bobby's great, won't be people have a problem, if Bobby's great, oh, there's people, they're such homophobes, buy the next issue. You didn't read it, dude. Everyone at Marvel put a little extra effort into the book. They had no incentive to advocate for it. Really? Really? The only reason for the book to exist was so you could get mentioned in Salon.com, in BuzzFeed, in whatever TV show, Rachel Maddow, whatever. It literally existed to be advocated for, not to be read. X-Men fans are super rad and passionate, and I'm always blown away whenever I get a letter or a drawing. That stuff is cool. Only knowing my experience, all I can say is that I feel like the book found a group of people who were legitimately passionate about ICEMAN, and they were the dopest folks around. That there was a small coterie of SJWs who would every 3 or 4 months mention it, and all they ever mentioned was gay, and they clearly did not read it. Finally, what's next for you when it comes to comics? Do you have any work for hire deals in development? Any more creator-owned stuff in your future? Haha, I've got like 7 exclusive contracts waiting for me. Not. People can find me in the next few. He's actually talking about this. People can find me in the next few months in the pages of Mad Magazine and an upcoming Power Rangers thing. You're an adult. You can say book. I've got a series or 2 at Image that we'll be announcing once enough material is done, so I don't mess up shipping. I think people can expect me to collaborate more with musician Jenny Lewis, and that's all I can. You having a stroke? You're just saying random things. Okay, number 1, this was predicted. I said, these SJWs, they all know each other. The Black Mask people know the Marvel people, know the Image people. There's no meritocracy. They were not going to let Sina just fail and F off back to, just a regular job. He's going to fail absolutely miserably. He's going to have 2 Image series, and Mad Magazine, and Power Rangers with Mags Visaggio. This is basically the Human Centipede, except for no one ever eats food. They just it's a circle. That's what I'm saying. There's no front to this Human Centipede. So I'm going to wrap this one up because I've got chicken cordon bleu in the oven, boy. And tell me what you think about this video. Tell me what you think about this interview. Tell me what you think about Sina Grace being rewarded with absolute failure with 2 Image series and a Power Rangers. Tell me what you think about Mariko Tamaki being rewarded with failure of She-Hulk by giving X-23. Why are we rewarding failure? Why are we keeping Margaret Stoll and Captain Marvel? Why? It's time to stop. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks to everyone to the Super Chat and the Patreon. You're funding original content. I got page 7, issue 3 of Iron Sights. Looking great. If you buy a comic, because me or anyone else recommends it, take a picture of it. Hashtag move the needle. Put it on Twitter. At all the people involved. We want to show we're trying to save the industry. Like flat out. We're trying to save it. I meet people in line. They say, you're saving the industry. I say, we're saving it. I'm one guy. Together, we're 61,000. They are making concessions for them, but we are being actively repelled by people like Sina Grace, people in Mags Visaggio, the people who hire him, the Andy Couries over at DC, hiring Mags. it's a circle. Like I said, it's the circle of life, except for it's all shit, and it's just circulating from one country. Nobody's ever getting kicked out. Failure doesn't get kicked you out. Low sales doesn't get kicked out. We gotta keep pushing because they have shown they are willing to kill the industry rather than let it be peopled and healed by normies like us. So anyway, thanks for watching. My next video is going to be a Marvel before SJW. I haven't done one in like 4 or 5 months. It's going to be some Mark Bagley, Venom, Carnage, Spider-Man, early 90s. Great stuff. So that one, I'll probably do that one later tonight. Thanks. Bye.